Hello everyone. So in the last class we had observed how to synthesize in a solventless reaction condition or a solvent phase synthesis. But in this particular session we will be focusing upon how at all can we design a green chemical reaction. Now this concept is designing synthetic methodologies. Now my main focus would be through a green synthetic methods in which biological component itself acts as reducing and capping agent, therefore reduction of the overall cost of synthesis process. We can see that if a particular biological component like NADH or NADPH could be utilized for both oxidation and reduction reaction, I can reduce the overall cost of the synthesis. Next, external experimental conditions like high energy, high pressure are not required leads to energy saving process. In this we can say that if I can avoid making use of high temperature reaction, high pressure reactions or high solvent consuming reaction, I can easily avoid the utilization of this systems so that I can lead these reactions into a green chemical process. Instead of doing a reaction at a high temperature, if I can do the reaction at just stirring conditions and get the product, I'll be able to avoid the utilization of the high pressure reactions or high temperature reactions. In this way, we can see that external experimental conditions could be avoided. Either if I can grind the procedure also, that is fine. By grinding to a mechanical system, if I can save upon energy, I can also lead that particular synthesis to a green chemical system. Now, why can this be seen? If I have to do these two processes, then why are they utilized or why are they helpful? They are eco-friendly approach as the toxic chemicals are not used. Definitely, if I am avoiding the utilization of any types of toxic solvents or high temperature, they become eco-friendly and there will not be any toxic chemicals that have been used. If these two systems could be achieved, then they can be used at a large scale production of nanoparticles. Now, many of the time this has been a focus for green synthetic methods because nanoparticles have been serving as an important aspect of this new chemical synthesis where these nanoparticles are completely changing the scenario of utilizing materials. Now, this is a part of material chemistry where nanoparticles are trying to replace everything in terms of a conventional methods. Now let us compare today's chemical sector into tomorrow's chemical sector. Now this will be in terms of how synthetic methodologies are today and how my future synthetic methodology would be affected. Now let us go through this system. There will be renewable sources, but we are more dependent on a fossil resources. This is going to give me a resource generation. Then production will be there, use and end of life. If there is a production and if there is any type of byproduct, there are lot of landfills, incineration of the environment and lot of byproducts which cause harm to the environment has been seen. But if we look at the tomorrow's chemical sector where we are trying to utilize green chemistry, renewable sources of energy are utilized. Resource generation will be from the renewable sources of energy. There will be production, but they would also be in terms of a recycle. If I am making use of any catalyst, definitely I want to recycle that catalyst and utilize in my next step reaction. There would be byproducts, but those byproducts are designed in such a way that they will not go as waste. Instead, they are utilized in a waste designed system where the waste of one reaction can become a useful reactant for a second reaction medium. Now, this can be done in terms of use. By getting the production, we get the use. Then we get the end of life. But after using, we can also do a reuse system. That is a recycling system. Use and reuse is continuously seen in a green chemical reaction. If there is a production, then again there will be a recycling system also. Now, if I am getting any type of waste, definitely that waste can be utilized as a resource for some other type of reaction. So, this will be in terms of a chain reaction of today's chemical sector versus tomorrow's chemical sector. Let us compare them in terms of various procedures or various processes. Today's chemical sector is mostly linear processes. That means we finish one reaction, we get a product, and then whatever byproduct is synthesized, it just goes as waste. But here in the green chemical process, circular processes, if we are getting any byproduct, we observe that whether that byproduct can be utilized as a starting material for some other reaction, or whether we can recycle the catalytic system. In the today's chemical sector, there will be fossil feedstock, that means non-renewable source of energy are seen, whereas in the green chemical procedure we observe there is a renewable feedstock. These are reactive, persistent or toxic chemical reagents and products. That means they will be reactive, they will be persistent, that means they will remain in the environment because of the larger half-life. They are toxic to the environment, and whatever products are formed, they will have very less atom economy. These are benign chemical reagents and products. That means they will be environmental friendly and they can be easily biodegradable. Catalysis using rare metals we do. That means we make use of palladium, platinum. Catalysis using abundant metals, enzymes, photons or electrons. That means in green chemistry, abundant materials like iron can be utilized, enzymes can be utilized, photons can be utilized and electrons can be utilized to push a reaction into the final product. In the conventional chemistry, covalent bonds are broken down to get the final product, whereas in green chemistry, utilization of weak non-covalent interactions can be done. Conventional solvents like benzene, DCM, carbon tetrachloride is utilized. But here in green chemistry, low toxicity, recyclable, inert, abundant, easily separable green solvents or solventless system can be utilized. Now, abundant or green solvents can be ionic liquids, there may be eutectic solvents, or complete the reaction can be done in a solventless condition. Material and energy consuming isolation and purification. Now in terms of consumption and isolation and purification has to be done step by step if I am making use of any solvent or there is some procedure that I follow. But here in a self separating system, that is if I do a reaction in a solid phase synthesis in terms of a Bruce Merrifield synthesis we saw, there will be self separating. That means one completed of chain then separates and then there will be a next chain of the reaction. I need not or we need not completely go for a single separating system. Here in a conventional system, there is a large waste volume. Byproducts are there, solvents are there, catalysts are there. They all form the part of they all form the part of waste. Whereas here it is atom economy, step and solvent economical processes are seen. We look at atom economy, we look at atom efficiency, we look at solventless processes, we look at solid phase synthesis in green chemistry. Here we do waste treatment, but still the waste is being flown into the soil. It is being left into the air, causing air pollution, soil pollution. Whereas here in green chemistry, waste utilization is done. That is, one product which is a waste for one reaction can become a starting material for the other reaction. Designed exclusively for the use phase with reliance on circumstantial control. That means we just want to complete the supply demand chain. That means we do not want to see whether it is biodegradable or whether that is environmental friendly. But here the intentional molecule design for a full life cycle is seen. Green chemistry, from the choice of the renewable sources of energy to the production to the complete life cycle, to complete biodegradability of that particular material is observed. There is a performance there, that is maximize function can be seen. In this function is seen, but still what has happened is final product what we get that is utilized and the rest all waste is just going to landfills. Whereas in terms of green chemistry, maximize function is there but minimize hazards are there. Here maximize function also means that if I made use of solvents like carbon tetrachloride, chloroform, they would still have a flammability, they will still have a toxic performance onto the human health and environment. Whereas here maximize function meaning If I make use of water as the solvent, ionic liquid as a solvent, eutectic mixtures as a solvent, I can recycle that solvent and then I can minimize these hazards. That means there will be less accidents in the further reactive conditions. Maximum chemical production for increased profit. What we do here is demand supply chain. In the conventional system, we are just looking towards a profit based system. We are not looking in terms of whether it will be helpful or whether the whole cycle will be completed. But green chemistry also relies upon maximum performance with minimal benign material use for increased profit. Definitely profit is observed, but maximum performance with minimal benign material use. That is definitely renewable sources of energy, in terms of energy sources, instead of making use of high temperature, high pressure, avoiding those systems and making use of solventless condition or solid phase systems can be synthesized. And then instead of trying to do a separation procedure or trying to do a purification procedure, if the whole system can be avoided, definitely there will be an increased yield and there will be increased profits in terms of green chemical procedures also. Now let us look at this particular example where there is a benzofuran system, benzofuranone system with a triple bond, that is we have a acetylenic substituent. This reacts with 1,2-diphenylamine in the presence of a certain solvent to give me a system where there is fusion of this 1,2-diphenyl system to give me an azo system. This azo system has got, now has to be focused in terms of a solvent. Now, solvent like dimethyl sulfoxide, the yield was 45. The solvent like dimethyl formamide, the yield was just 50%. The moment the solvent is just converted to water, look at the yield. It is just turned to 88%. The solvent like dioxin, the yield was just 40%. So this also meant that if we can avoid making use of the solvents like DMSO, DMF or dioxin, which are not environmentally friendly solvents, and just utilize water, we can not only increase the yield of the reaction but also the atom economy increases. This is one of the best examples where water has been utilized in the solvent condition instead of an organic solvents to give a high yield. So in this way, green chemical methods and the today's chemical sector has been compared in terms of understanding designing synthetic methodologies. Once the synthetic methodologies have been designed in a proper way, utilizing these green chemical procedures, where definitely there would be some amount of profit or there will be higher profit once that has been completely installed in an industry, we can definitely get, we can definitely convert the conventional industry sector into a green chemical sector. A best example would be we can just replace some of these solvents which are highly costly solvents in terms of economy. That means a lot of money has to be spent on these solvents. I can just replace it by the non-conventional solvents like water to get me high yield. So this way, green chemical synthesis can be an important aspect in terms of design strategies. Thank you.